Boy, we got a treat for you today, folks. Welcome back to the Isaac Abrams Show. I'm your host, Isaac Abrams. Today's very special guest, actor. I'm going to get this order wrong. We just talked about this. Actor, writer. I'm not going to say producer. I'm going to give him credit for being a producer, but he doesn't want to be a producer. Actor, writer, stand-up comedy. I'm sorry, folks. This is the end of the episode, and he told me something at the end that blew my mind. You're going to want to stay tuned in. Please welcome to the show. His writing credits include Star Trek Lower Decks, which we talk about at the end. What's the other one I just missed?
Solar Opposites. And now, writer on Rick and Morty. Please welcome to the show, Garrick Bernard. Welcome to the show, Garrick.
Thanks for having me, Isaac.
That was probably the worst intro that I've ever done.
It's fine.
But what I really want to reiterate is that I might even have to take the end of the show and put it at the beginning right now, because we talk about a lot of Star Trek stuff, and I'm very excited about it. So this is my energy coming out of just having talked to Garrick for an hour and 34 minutes. Awesome. Please enjoy the intro and the episode. Yeah.
Sick. I honestly believe if you left room for AI to be a writer in a room, like if you staffed AI, right? Mm-hmm. It would be at a staff writer level of just like, this is missing the mark, but we could riff off of this, essentially.
Right. Yeah. It might be the kid in the corner that has a great idea every once in a while. But he's definitely the first one you're going to fire if they're like, we're going to downsize the writer's room.
Yeah. Let's get him out of here. It's just like, actually, the thing that you said is something that I wrote 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I can't have you on the show anymore.
It's like if I got in your writer's room and I was like, guys, I've got great ideas. I'm just reading old scripts.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay.
Or like Dickens. I'm just reading Dickens.
Reading Dickens out. And it's like, well, we don't need Dickens in this.
We have Google.
Yeah. You could stop saying the N-word so much. Like, Jesus Christ.
Tell me if you think this is funny. I've never told anybody this idea, but I have a sketch idea.
Yeah.
Where I play Quentin Tarantino, and when I'm done with the script, I slap it on his desk. I'm like, okay, bud, I need all the N-words now.
Put them in. Yeah. That is, that's like the equivalent of a blunt roller for Snoop Dogg. Right. Where it's just like, all right, man. And like Snoop Dogg pays that guy was like a good amount of money.
Yeah, he makes a good living.
Mm-hmm. And so if I were Tarantino's N-word writer, I would absolutely take that. I would take it and then also like punch up little things every now and again. And so I would like slowly build the trust of like, all right, take this scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. I wrote a scene in a Tarantino film.
The next step after that is that he has a guy that follows him around that just says it after he finishes a sentence.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He hangs out at the store a lot.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
He'll go, I think he's been like 2 or 3 times this year.
Yeah.
Everybody makes a big deal out of it, and all the photographers go
like,
nuts.
Tarantino's here. Yeah.
He loves comedians.
I feel like the store is a place for celebrity sightings. I've seen more celebrities at the store than I have anywhere else my entire life.
Do you include comedians in that? Like celebrity comedians in that?
No, I don't.
Because if you're like, where can I go see Bobby Lee tonight? It's like, well,
he's at the
go
store.
See the store. Because comedians were celebrities to me before I got into comedy.
Yeah.
And then once I started doing podcast stuff and met everybody, I was like, oh, that's just Tim.
Yeah, he's just there. He's just hanging out.
I don't like the store.
Yeah, it's I feel like I don't know if I stay away, but I definitely have some form of like resistance to it. In that like I'd rather just go and do stand up than like the hangout angle of it.
Right.
But I will say that when I'm there, I do have a good time.
Yeah.
But I think it's the act of being like, all right, tonight's a store night. And I'm like, well,
is it? Yeah.
I can go do some comedy.
Yeah. I just feel more welcome at the improv.
Yeah.
I work at the improv as a photographer.
Yeah.
I shoot at the Laugh Factory, but I'm not on payroll there.
Right.
I just shoot my friends.
Yeah.
And I've never, listen, it's not the Comedy Store's job to call me on the phone and make me feel welcome.
Right.
It's just the first couple of times I was like listening to comedy podcasts. I'm like, if you want to be a comedian, you just got to go hang out at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
So I started going there.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, so Where do the future comedians hang out?
Yeah.
They're like right here on the patio, bud.
It's like
Yeah. It was just like Rogan and Marin and everybody just make it sound like this magical place that you're like, I really love stand up. Well, just go there.
Yeah.
And they'll take care of the rest.
No,
that's not it at all.
They don't take care of the rest.
No.
Because you have to get good first. You have to
Right.
be good. And then I guess the hangout after you do your set at the store is great.
Sure.
Because after shows, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to head home after my set and all that. But at the Comedy Store, it like, you do your set and it caters to you sticking around because it's just, you can see so much comedy and learn so much when you're just bouncing around. Like when I started out, I learned so much from watching people in the OR and then like sneaking into the main room, hoping that I get to see like a full set of somebody that was much bigger, like watching Bill Burr work out his joke about killing people that do cruises. Like he's like, genocide should be specific activities and all of that stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, this is brilliant. That's how you like actually build a bit.
Yeah.
But you don't get that at other places. I feel like.
It is unique that it has the 3 rooms that you can pop around to. And I like that. It just, it feels like once you're in, which is cool. It should be that way, right? It shouldn't just be like, come one, come all.
Right.
Because that would just be a shit show. Nothing would be exclusive about it. It wouldn't be the mecca of comedy if they did. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like now I'm just making excuses for myself.
No, not at all. I mean, I think the longer you're here and the longer you're in it, the more appealing the store becomes, I would say. Because I like, when I first started, I was like, okay, I see the point, but it's not for me. So let me like go away for like a little bit and like do stand up and like learn and around the city in general. And then all of your friends that are in stand up and like doing it daily then start to work at the store. Yeah. And start to go up at the store. And then you come back and you're like, oh, this is just me hanging out with the LA comedy scene.
Exactly.
I feel like the store has such a gravitational pull for stand-ups that they're all there, at any given night. Yep. And so you do get to like, it's like, oh man, I haven't hung out with my friends in a while. Let me go at the store and see who's there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point. I think I'm coming at it from like I wanted instant acceptance and being like, right. Hey, you look funny. You should get up right now. It's just like now knowing what I know now, it's like the lineup's been locked in for a week and a half, and like I mean, unless you're like Eddie Murphy coming out of retirement, you're not going to go bump someone.
Exactly.
That's what the open mic's for.
Right.
Wait 4 to 6 years, and you might get up on potluck.
You might get up on potluck.
Yeah. Do you? Which came first? Stand up. Acting, writing, producing? Which
stand up did.
Stand up.
Yeah.
Do you feel like stand-ups get the best opportunities in Los Angeles?
Yes. I think that stand-up teaches you how to do 2 things, write and perform. And so a lot of people know that, and a lot of people respect writer performers that are like the gatekeepers of the world. And so they tend to go to comedy shows and whatnot and just like, I don't want to say cast from that, but see potential from
keep
that.
An eye on folks.
Keep an eye on folks. See how much better they're getting. See if they like stick with it for the most part. And that's been such a huge portion of, I guess, making it quote unquote here is you really just have to have the endurance to stick around. Right. The best advice that I ever got was did you know like comic Scruncho?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he's at the Laugh Factory a lot. Okay, real funny dude. And one time I was at the Laugh Factory with a friend of mine, and he pretty much was just noticed that we were new. And he was like, "All right, man, like if you guys want to do this, stick it out for 4 years, look up, and then see how much less competition you have because everybody is gone." Yeah. Do another 4 years, look up again. That will probably go in half again. That would like subtract by half. So you're literally looking up 10 years down the road and you're like, oh, I'm it's me and 5 other people who are still here, and we're still doing stand up. And sure, there will be those anomalies that like get it right away.
Yeah.
And there's like, oh my God, this person's just so funny and they're so good at like marketing themselves and whatnot. But 10 years down the road, you're a monster. Everybody around you knows you and remembers you from, you know, a year in, and they're looking at you like, man, you're great now.
Yeah.
And then you're looking around to all the people who have been consistent 10 years down the road, and you're like, it's just a couple of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, those 10 years within that, you know, casting directors go to your shows or have been in one of your shows and they reach out, or people in VO hear your voice and they reach out. People who run writers' rooms see your stuff, reach out. It's sure that stuff is few and far in between. I think it would be like, I don't know, that would happen to me like once every 2 years, but it only takes one time,
right,
to like really, push you into the stratosphere.
Because once you get that first writing credit, and get in the guild, and
it's
once you're in the club, you can stay in the club.
You can stay in the club. Yeah. I think it would be. A lot of people say like the first job is really hard to get, and then the second job is just as hard, but you just don't realize it. But you get, I would say like you get your on your second show, or second WGA show or second writing job, and you're set. It's a waterfall motion from there.
Do you see a lot? I've only heard of this. I don't know any specific friends that I'm referencing, but have you seen comedians that you've come up with also get writing jobs and then go, I don't think I'm gonna do stand up anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reverse, where I've seen people get into writers' rooms and then they are stand-ups and they're like, oh, I hate this. And they're like, I'm out. I'm just gonna do stand-up. And then when somebody casts me in something, I'll just keep on doing those two things. Because I think a lot of it is just so symbiotic, where it's just like, you know, writing helps stand-up, or being in a writer's room helps stand-up. Being on stage helps you, or being on shows or like television shows helps you promote for your stand-up shows.
Sell tickets.
So it's truly like, it always for me goes back to stand-up. Where stand-up informs your writing informs your stand-up, performance, not performance, but being on shows then sells tickets, and then being a stand-up gets you more opportunities to be in more television shows. So it's, I think that is.
I can't imagine just moving here and being like, I only want to be an actor.
I'm afraid for a lot of those people.
Same.
If I'm being honest, I do understand, like, if you are extremely talented in acting and you like went to Juilliard and shit like that, then or like the Yale master's program, I get it. Just do acting. You are obviously at a different level than most of us. But people who are here and they just like kind of bounce around from like, you know, production to production, or like acting class to acting class, I'm terrified. You know, I'm like, dude, there's a whole other world and a whole other level of something called the multi-hyphenate that you have to then compete with. And that's so terrifying. You know, it's also more creatively fulfilling to get to the point where you're like, okay, I've honed my comedy chops. I've honed my acting chops. I'm a pretty good writer now. I've been successful in all three. Now I can just go to the studio and be like, well, in normal times, you could just go, hey, I have this idea that I wrote. It's done. You don't have to pay me to develop it. It's written for me, and I'm going to show run it and direct it. And you're like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's 4 hats. We'll pay him for 2 of those hats. We'll buy it. And then you're making your own stuff with your friends. I mean, that is
no other job.
No.
You can't work at John Deere or IBM or Apple and be like, you know what? We're just going to all go over here and do our own thing. Like, okay. Like,
No,
we make iPhones.
Yeah,
you can make iPhones, or you can work for someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's like it's like the end of Succession is like I'm a cog in a machine that fits a very specific thing. If I can't do this, I might die. You know, it's like it's that feeling of just specificness that I feel like is limiting, while also I don't know, I just feel like it's limiting if you're just like I'm just out here to be an actor. It's like okay, cool.
I think they should tell everyone before they move to Los Angeles how much work it takes for free.
Yeah,
before you're going to even get on set for the first time, casting anything other than background, writing something that someone's even going to fucking read for the first time.
My God.
Your first non-open mic show.
Oh my God.
Like, it blows people's mind. They're like, wait a minute, what are you talking about work for free?
Right.
I'm like, oh, no.
That is literally most of it.
You work for you now.
Right.
So you pay yourself in the time that you put into your own craft.
Yeah.
And you can be successful as fast as you want to be.
Yeah.
As long as you put in the work every single fucking day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, nah. My mom said I was talented, so I'll be all right.
Yeah. And it's like your mom is forced to say that you're talented.
That's your mom.
Yeah, it's your mom.
Yeah, she told me I was talented too.
Yeah, she would. You know, she would if she saw you like eat an apple really fast. She's like, oh, that's talent. That's a God-given talent.
Yeah, you're the fastest little apple eater.
Oh my God. It's like, she's your mom. That's what happens.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think you get this really rude awakening when you're. I don't think I got anything until like 6-7 years, and that's early for a lot of people. And 6-7 years of just having another job and then hoping to God that like eventually you break into it. I think after, again, going back to what Scruncho said, after that 4th year, I was like, man, I just can't not do this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You're sitting there and you're like, I'm not making any money from this. So I might as well continue to not make money from this and then just do it for the love of it.
Right.
And yeah, you're kind of just sitting there not expecting much.
Yeah.
You're kind of just like, well, this is just what it is. It's you're broke until you're not.
Right. I got a very late start. I was 38 when I started comedy.
Yeah.
Maybe 39. And then I took the back door into comedy and I started a podcast studio. And then I grabbed all my camera gear and I went to like the biggest headliners and I was like, do you need a videographer?
Yeah.
And then I went on theater tours. My first tour was theater tours.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. And then I got to start doing time in theaters. Well, I mean, I had maybe done like 20 open mics and now I get to do like 4 minutes in front of 2,500 people. It's like, that's weird.
Yeah.
So now on my current journey right now, before I go back out on the road in September for the end of the year doing videography for another comedian who also lets me do time. He lets me do almost 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
I'm debating on whether or not comedy is the thing.
That has been such an existential question for me.
Right?
Yeah, and yeah. I rather, I don't know if I want to get into like comparing it to like the SAG strike and whatnot right now, but like
I'll put it to you like this for me, not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like I expected the grind. I thought I was going to have to work my way up. I wasn't putting in any of the work.
Yeah.
And then I got really lucky. And I have people come up to me all the time like, how are you getting these amazing opportunities? I'm like, well, I'm doing non-comedy things. I'm not earning these things through the merit of me being funny. I'm earning them through the cameras and stuff that I bought that I know how to edit. Like,
yeah.
So I'm getting opportunities. And maybe that's where my crisis is coming from, because I'm getting undeserved opportunities because I'm providing value from a different standpoint.
Got you.
And that was the whole plan. It was like, I'm old. I have to get an edge on somebody.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh shit, what do I do now? I actually have to do the funny part.
Yeah. But the other thing with stand-up that is so, in my experience, delightful is that the later you start, the more you have the more stuff you have to talk about.
Exactly.
Because you have to have a life lived before you can make fun of that life, you know? And so when you're starting off later, there's just this well of experience and knowledge that you can kind of just go off of. And sure, there was an edge that you had to like exploit in order to get to where you are now. But even still, you're starting off knowing all of these things about yourself that kids who started when they were 19 didn't.
Right.
You know,
which is why you hear the same joke over and over again on open mic.
Yeah.
From the young cats.
Absolutely.
It's always the same. Like
absolutely, because you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Or they don't know anything yet about themselves. I don't think I really started writing good jokes until I was, I don't know, 30. Like,
well, let me ask you this: what was your like writing process? But what age did you start? Like 22, 23?
21.
21.
Yeah.
So between 21 and 30, like how many hours a day were you writing comedy?
Probably I would just spend the first 2 hours, I would say, of like waking up, just kind of like just writing.
Day.
Yeah, just kind of like writing out shit that was, I would like free write for a long time.
Yeah.
And I would, it's down to nowadays to like I'm just gonna write out a page. Mm-hmm. But it used to be me just kind of like sitting down, doing the free write thing for like a couple pages, 2-3 pages, and then going back through that and being like, okay, I can take a line from this, I can take a line from that. Mm-hmm. And there's just kind of keep a wave and consistency about like writing. But that then turned into a love for writing out scripts, you know, because I'm like, okay, well, if I can do this for 2 hours a day, I can definitely just write out a stupid script based off of something that I free wrote.
Right.
You know,
it's basically getting a rough outline of something.
Yeah, it's just a rough outline.
Yeah. Well, once you have like a good outline.
Oh yeah.
You can just paint by numbers.
Kind of just run.
Yeah.
You kind of just run.
Writing's easy, guys.
Yeah. I think it's the hardest part is sitting down to write.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just listening to Stephen Pressfield on You Made It With Pete Holmes' podcast.
Yeah.
He wrote The War of Art and Going Pro. Mm-hmm. Have you read either of those books?
I've started The War of Art, and then I started on writing, and I finished that one first.
Yeah.
But I need to go back to The War of Art.
War of Art, I mean, that's an easy half-hour read.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for those of you at home that haven't read it, not to spoil the book, but it's about resistance.
Yeah.
And overcoming your resistance and the muse and, like, making yourself an open receptacle to, like, receiving ideas.
Yeah.
And going back to the free writing thing, I would go and I'd get my coffee and I'd sit down at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And all these, I have ADD really bad. All these distractions. You know, some lady in some sweet pants would walk by, and then a dog. I hate dogs inside of restaurants. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But I started writing all these things that I'm thinking and feeling. And instantaneously, at 30 minutes and 1 second, joke idea.
Got it.
Because I purged all of the things that were like buzzing through my brain.
All of the bullshit, essentially. But the wild shit in what people don't realize about writing and like writing jokes and writing scripts and all of that stuff, you'll sit there for your hour and then you write for 30 minutes and then you finally get the joke idea and you're like, fuck, I got one. And then you try that joke out for a week and you're like, this is bad. This is awful.
Yeah.
And then you have to start over. You know, like,
I usually have like 30 minutes before I'm actually awake, before my alarm goes off, that I like kind of pre-wake up.
Yeah.
And I have like in my head, like I'm at a stadium and I'm Kevin Hart and I'm everything I say is funny.
Oh my God.
And then I get up, I'm like, I gotta write this stuff down. And I write it down and then I'm like, 2 hours later, I'll read it and I'm like, this doesn't even make any sense.
Fucking dog shit.
Purple dump trucks.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What is that?
Exactly.
It was so I wake up laughing in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
this is bad. I'm bad at this. I think I go through that at least once a week. That dread of just like, damn, I fucking suck at this.
Yeah.
But you have to just not believe that. You know?
Right. That actually it parallels to my film career because I remember I came up under another assistant director.
Right.
He's very good. He's a motorsports guy. If there's a car commercial and it's got to blow up or helicopters or cops or whatever, he's the number one dude. And I was just doing like tabletop food stuff.
Right.
And I was like getting nervous before set. I was like, I don't know how to lead this crew. And I was asking him, he's about 10 years older than me. And I go, when do you, when did you feel like you earned where you're at and like you're in command of the set and like you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, Never.
Never.
Every day's a new shoot.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing today.
Yeah.
I just get better at like looking confident in front of other people
Yeah.
and going like,
Yeah.
And then of course that takes us into like the killing your ego thing.
Right. Oh God, yeah.
Where you're like, at first you're like, I know what I'm doing. And everyone
Yeah.
goes, that guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then when you can finally humble yourself in front of a group of people to go like, hey guys, I don't really know what's up on this one.
Yeah.
Then you get all this respect. It's so
Yeah.
counterintuitive.
This is why I think that everybody should do stand up at least a couple times.
Yeah, humble.
Because public speaking is the first first fear or the biggest fear in most Americans, if not
More than
all
death.
of them. More than death, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Doing jokes in front of people, knowing that there has to be a reaction after it, not singing, not fucking telling a speech where people will clap and all of this stuff. There is a physical reaction that is just involuntary that comes from people.
Right.
And you say a joke and that joke does not result in that reaction. The dread and the anxiety that you then have, there is no way that an ego builds out of that.
No.
There's no way you don't fail that hard looking your biggest fear in the world in the face.
Right.
And then you come out of it being like, I am the absolute shit in any other field.
But you do see some guys
oh my God,
at the mics that are like, I just crushed
it's just
that.
like,
You're
you
like,
fucking bomb, bro.
yeah, dude, you got it.
Yeah, you're great.
But I think the parallel I want to draw is like you could go to a recital.
Yeah.
And the worst singer that makes you feel like, ooh, I
Right.
kind of feel bad for that person.
Yeah.
That's a tenth of sitting in a comedy show and watching a comedian bomb.
Yeah.
Like not just like that wasn't funny. Like I get it where he's going, but like when people start like crossing their arms bomb.
Oh my God.
Like boo, like
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you feel so bad for them.
Yeah, because you can't. There's no way to like really explain that feeling of just bombing, and you as a comedian you have to get used to that.
Yeah.
And so your ego is just either callous to shit, or you don't have one, and you enter most situations like, well, that didn't work. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's the next thing? I'm not gonna say I suck at this, but it's just like, well, that one sucked.
Yeah. Today sucked.
Yeah. And that's the type of shit that happens in like writers' rooms that you, or I mean, even on set, I'm sure, where you just kind of come into a situation and you're just like, well, this could be great or it could be awful.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's one of the things that drew me to comedy, because I was in a band for a very long time. First, we had to write albums the same way we have to write jokes.
Yeah.
But you write them collaboratively, right? So you would bring an idea in.
Right.
And be like, guys,
Yeah.
we got this new riff for a song.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were like, what are you doing? That's the Entertainment Tonight theme song.
Right.
And then sometimes they would be like, no, just no.
Yeah.
Just no.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like, wow, that's really great. But going back to like, because we have the stuff we work out here in town, then we have the stuff we take on the road, right?
Yeah.
When you're on the road, or when you're just doing a show,
Right.
and you're doing your set that works.
Yeah.
And it's a crowd you've never performed in front of before. And you know
Oh my God.
that you got a line, and you just try and keep that straight face, that once you just drop this bomb,
Yeah.
the whole room's going to open up like a flower, and everything you say for the next 8 minutes after that is going to be,
Yeah, we love you.
That's the crack that you can't buy anywhere else.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what gets people addicted to stand-up.
Yeah.
And just like that, I'm back in stand-up.
Yeah. It's just like,
say,
I can't quit after doing. I just fucking destroy it.
yeah, I'm like I want to go on stage right now.
Yeah. You just like you're scratching your neck. You're doing all of that shit. Oh my God, man! Like there have been times where I'm just on stage, absolutely bombing, and then I say one line that wins the crowd back for the rest of the set.
Yeah.
And honestly, that makes me feel more like a god than any other situation, any other fucking any other speech that I've ever done,
Yes.
or any other like, I don't know, pitch that I've ever done.
Yeah, you're like, are you not entertained?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh.
You're walking around literally like Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
And you're like, I am the god of this theater, or the god of this black box, or whatever.
Right.
Only because you thought I wasn't good at this, and then halfway through you're like, oh, okay, thank God.
And then when you get back to the green room and the other comedians are like, man, you really dug it out.
Yeah.
That's like,
oh my God.
attaboy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember I followed Brad Williams.
Oh, he's a killer.
Fucking destroying in the lab. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be fucking awful. I am going to bomb. I cannot follow this. This is a professional comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on stage.
This is years ago, right?
This is years ago.
Okay.
This is years ago. I went up and I'm like, I'm doing like kind of okay. And then somebody in the audience was like, you got it, baby, or something like that, like all supportive. And I flipped the switch that I was just so mad. And I just started ripping on the entire audience. Like, I'm fucking good at this. I'm a professional, blah, blah, blah.
This
and
kills in San Diego.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just win back everybody. And I was like, oh, there's the energy that Brad brought out of the room. And I'm like doing real well and doing all of that stuff. And then I finally start telling jokes, and those jokes start working. And that was the closest I felt to Bill Burr's like Philadelphia set. Have you seen that? Where he was bombing for like a while, and then he just started ripping on the audience.
Oh yeah.
And they were like
gnarliest thing.
Gnarliest
like
thing. Everybody's
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes of just shitting on Philadelphia as a whole. And you're just watching him win over the entire city.
Yeah.
By making fun of them.
Yeah.
And so I forgot who it was, but somebody was just who came up with Burr was just like, that's the moment that made Bill Burr.
Yeah.
And so this is like not even a 10th, a 16th of that moment, but I was just like, that it makes you believe in yourself.
Right.
And then you get that like pat on the back, like you really started boxing out there. And
there's a you decide moment.
Yeah.
I just did the Brea Improv.
Yeah.
With 2 different times.
Yeah.
Drew Lynch did a weekend, and Steve Fury was his feature.
Yeah.
And he let me do a guest set.
Yeah.
I had never done a guest set.
Yeah.
I had always just gone out and then the feature and then the headliner.
Right.
So I had to follow Steve Fury. And he has an hour.
Yeah.
So when he does 20 minutes as a feature,
Oh, he's fucking destroying.
bop, 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 bop. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So we did 5 shows in that configuration. And by the 5th show, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I feel okay.
Yeah.
And then Steve invited me back a week and a half later when he was headlining.
Right.
He brought Hormos and some other kid, I can't remember his name right now. But those 2 guys both did 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Of like bop, 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 bop. And I knew Steve was coming after me. And then I did a guest set, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was in backstage listening to these guys. Da-da-da-da, laugh. Da-da-da, laugh. And I'm a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da laugh.
Yeah.
I'm a storyteller. Well,
Yeah.
I guess I could have just said that. But I had to decide right before I went on stage. I was like, if you go out there with fear, you will eat shit.
Absolutely.
You need to fucking go. Just
you kind of just have to be a confident person.
You just have to be a confident person. And I did, and I had the best out of my life.
Yeah.
And it was great.
There it is.
You decide.
Yeah. It's like being a stand-up is you have imposter syndrome until you pick up the mic. And you're like, okay, well, no, I'm comfortable here.
Right.
I do this for a living. This is all. I don't want to say this is all I am, but I'm not funny.
Yeah.
And it is like this consistent balance and like fight that you have to have mentally in order to actually pick the mic up. But once you do, everything kind of just fades into to black, fades into the background.
Yeah.
And you're just up there killing.
Yeah. My best sets haven't even been sets. Like if I have to address the crowd as a director before a comedy special, I'm just like, okay, you guys have been to comedy shows a million times. I give them the speech.
Right.
Like, don't stand in front of this camera.
Yeah.
Don't talk in front of that mic. Don't laugh more than you would. Like, no, I do the rundown.
Right.
And then I drop a couple of jokes. I'm not up there as a comedian, so I'm up there as a director, which I feel the most at home as, because I have to give a speech as a director every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've done it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Super comfortable. I get the biggest laughs I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
But when I go up there as a comedian, the imposter syndrome kicks in. And it's like, if I had a bit of information that I needed to share as a non-comedian, like I like going cold. I love being the first guy up and doing the announcements.
Yeah.
Guys, the wings are on sale tonight. Don't forget to get the wings.
Yep.
You know? and then I try and find the richest guy in the room, try and get him buy wings for everybody. Like, I just love fucking around.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get to the point of being a headliner so I can do crowd work.
You can just fuck around.
I just want to fuck
Bro,
around.
it's literally. So, okay, I just started headlining. Mm-hmm. It's hard.
It is.
It is you. My buddy put it perfectly. It is you killing for 20 minutes, bombing for 15, and then killing for another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you really have to accept that middle is just you bombing. Like,
right.
And this is you losing the audience essentially to where they're just like, man, I don't know if he can do it. And I'm just like, and it's almost like you have to announce, is like, okay, here's the lull in the middle of the set until you're like, you know, a national comedian.
Yeah.
You know?
But sometimes the lull in the middle, it's like a 3-act play, right?
Yeah.
The lull in the middle, maybe it's not a bomb. Maybe
Right.
it's just we're bringing it down. We're going to tell a story
we're gonna tell
in the middle.
stories. Yeah.
And that way, when I build it back up at the end, I can land this plan.
Absolutely.
It's like, bah, bah, bah.
Absolutely.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
From a guy who's never done a whole hour on stage before, ever given a guy a headliner advice.
No, you just started doing, because man, that first 10 minutes where you're just like doing crowd work and you're just like getting to know everybody, and then you get into your first bit and that stretches for another 10 to 20, and then you're like, all right, here's the stuff that I am not sure will work here, but I will tell it because I love telling these jokes.
And you wish you could preface it like that.
Yeah.
But if you do, it's going to appear like it's not off the top of your head.
Right, exactly.
Which I think is so dumb, but we have to like maintain that facade of like, I'm just thinking these thoughts right now.
Right. It's like, no.
Unless you're in LA. If you're doing a spot in LA, people want to see you like,
They want to
look
see the
at
build.
your notes.
Yeah. They want to see the build.
I don't want to look at my notes in front of anybody.
I hate it. I hate because my memory is kind of bad.
Mine too.
Yeah. So I do have to, if I were to ever do an hour like filmed, I would have to have like a teleprompter or something like that. So just with the first word or line of the next bit, and I would just go through and be like, okay, cool, I got it.
We would just shoot 4 shows.
Oh, that too.
2, I mean, we'd just shoot 2.
Yeah.
But you generally, you don't want to shoot so I'm definitely an expert on shooting specials.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm not an expert on performance specials.
Yeah.
Right. But if I was to say, if you and I wanted to do a special,
You are.
I would say at least do 2.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, how many times have you run this hour? And if the answer isn't over 100, then I'd be like, let's circle back to this idea of shooting a special when this thing is fully cooked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you want to do a crowd work special, and then we can shoot that tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Just like me talking to people. It's like, hey, what's going on?
Speaking of which, I got to give a special shout out to Mike Falzone. As we sit here taping this, I don't know when it's coming out. Probably maybe a week, maybe
It's
2.
like the Surrounded.
Surrounded.
Yeah.
So and they're taping it.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, they're probably taping it in Montreal. Right
They
now,
are.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Just for Laughs.
Yeah.
Is happening right now.
Yeah.
And that I wanted to shout Just for Laughs out earlier when you were talking about the 4-year, 8-year thing.
Yeah.
Because every year they have a thing called Fresh Faces.
Yep.
Or New Faces or whatever. And I look at those guys and I'm like, I've seen that dude around for like 8, 10
while.
years. So the new people.
I think that list and the naming of that list is pretty disrespectful.
Yeah.
To where, most of those guys have been around since for like 8 years.
That's the induction into making a full-time living as a comedian.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you can quit your job now. You're at Montreal. This will get you a manager and an agent.
Right,
You're going to get
right.
booked and like,
Yeah.
you can tour now. It's like
there you
basically getting the keys to the castle.
Yeah. What has been pretty annoying now is that most of the time when those dudes go over there, they're already repped by so many people. And so they're there and they're like, well, I guess I'm just performing in front of French people and just hanging out.
Yeah.
And so everybody I asked that have been there recently, they're like, well, I mean, I had all of the things, so I'm just kind of hanging out with my friends.
Right.
I
think there's a little bit of a delay between when they announce who's going to play Montreal and then when they actually have to do it. So then the agents and managers just kind of.
Yeah. It's kind of like they're so accessible. Comedians are so accessible now.
Yeah.
So whereas like I can reach out to you via Instagram because I saw your clip, like kind of like just bouncing around.
It's their Sundance.
It's their Sundance. Yeah. It's just like, this is a victory lap at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time your shit gets to Sundance, I mean, sometimes they sell a film here or there at Sundance, but like most of the time,
that shit already.
it's
know.
just to cause a bidding war to see if anybody else wants to give you more money than what you got before.
Absolutely.
But Never been to Sundance either.
No.
I like to talk about shit like I've been everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard about Sundance. I hear that it's similar.
It looks like a good time.
Looks like a good time.
Maybe this time next year we'll have shot a film and gone.
Would love to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got all kinds of time.
Oh
Actually, you can't write it right now. And
No, I
can't shoot it. And nobody's going to act in it.
Nobody's going to act in it. Yeah.
See you in 2 years. I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see when this thing breaks.
I wonder what the deal is on. I don't want to get into the strike. I was going to say shooting sketches.
Yeah.
But that still feels weird.
Yeah.
It's like
I feel like everybody's just gonna come out with like this backlog of stuff that they wrote during the strike.
yeah, but in the meantime, once the strike is over, currently right now the studios are signing new reality shows.
Yeah.
There's going to be just an absurd flood of like The Bachelor. They're doing a geriatric Bachelor.
Yeah, the Golden Bachelor.
Golden Bachelor.
Yeah.
There's going to be like Wipeout and Jeopardy 2 and Wheel of Fortune 7 and like all they're just cranking on that stuff right now. But
and I mean that's what happened with the last one.
Yeah.
Did
you see Schultz's take on the streamers?
No, what did he say?
Andrew Schultz said that like let's just specifically use Netflix in this case because Disney and Amazon have enough capital to negate this, but Netflix he says that Netflix for example, if you do a comedy special and you put it on Netflix, they don't give you the numbers.
Yeah.
They don't tell you how many people watched.
Nope.
I'm not telling you that. I'm telling people at home. You already know that. He thinks that if Netflix had to reveal their numbers, they ain't getting the numbers that everybody thought. Share price plummets.
Yeah.
Which would destroy the whole company.
Yeah. Because it's just like they're lying about all of this stuff.
Right.
And that is the most devastating thing is that you're really finding out that when you're top 10 on Netflix, that also means that you're getting, I don't know, 800,000 views or something like that.
Right.
Like something way lower than you thought.
And the other thing that'll really boggle people's minds is that your top 10 and my top 10
Totally different.
Totally different. I see people all the time like, we're in the top 10 of Netflix. I'm like, oh, sweetheart.
Yeah. No, that is.
You're in your top 10.
Yeah.
Like you are yourself in your own top 10, of course.
Yeah. It is literally like when you go on Twitter or x.com, I guess now. When you go on X and you see the trending page.
Yeah.
There is a USA trending and a For You trending. Mm-hmm. Netflix always shows you the For You trending for those top 10. It's not like they'll say it's top 10 in the US, but most of the time it is just your top 10 for the people around you, which is pretty crazy.
It is crazy to think that it could go like you could log out of yours and go click on another one of those little bubbles on like who's watching.
Yeah.
Which is really depressing as a single guy to live at home by yourself and on every app go who's watching. It's like I'm the only one here.
Absolutely.
That joke's got to cook a little.
No. It's like oh fuck. Yeah.
I think we could deal without one or two of the streamers.
Yeah.
Netflix can go.
Yeah. I don't need it.
No. Amazon should buy Netflix because Amazon's garbage.
Yeah. Amazon should get most of Netflix's catalog because and I feel like with Amazon you are still looking at a shopping network or a bookstore that also has, it's like being in a library.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, this place also has DVDs. That's fucking crazy. I didn't know that libraries had DVDs that you can just kind of like rent out.
You can pause any show and buy that shirt or buy those jeans. Like you shouldn't be able to do that.
No. That doesn't feel good.
No, but I would pay the $120 or $150 a year to get the Prime shipping.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they come out with like Mrs. Maisel was fantastic.
Right.
Every once in a while they have a movie that nobody else has. I feel like I'm getting bonus content because I'm paying for that free shipping. I'm paying for it
anyway.
Free shipping I'm paying for. But like,
I don't need, is it the Citadel from Amazon?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need that. I don't need a huge amount of content from Amazon. I just need a couple good things.
Like the Apple Plus level.
Yes.
Make it much better. Make
Way
a
better
lot less.
But a lot less.
Who's fucking with Ted Lasso?
Nobody is. Nobody is.
It's like the best show.
It's I mean, even the people who made Ted Lasso did Shrinking. Oh, amazing.
Yeah. Is it same intro song?
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Same writers.
Same writers for intro song. Yeah, it's fucking fantastic.
They can't miss.
Yeah.
They can't miss.
Because they're a $1 trillion company
Yeah.
and they're acting like a $1 trillion company.
Yeah.
Amazon should act like a $1 trillion company.
They don't.
They don't at all.
Amazon is the Walmart to Apple Plus's Target.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Or like
Apple seems a little classier than
what's
Target.
like a classier place for clothes?
Clothes? You could go all the way up to like Top Man, like a British like suit place.
Yeah.
I'm not really fashion forward, so I don't really.
Yeah, I feel like if Amazon is Walmart for streaming or Walmart for products in general or like online products where they also sell clothes, Apple is Topman. Whereas it's like, we're just selling clothes, or their content is Topman. We're just like, we're just selling clothes, and we're just gonna focus on this prestige television.
But you can see it in the way they run their companies, right? Like Amazon will sell you anything at the lowest price possible.
Yeah.
And Apple only makes high quality products for a very high number.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That makes absolute sense in it. I get it, but it's you guys are doing an extracurricular activity, so why are you doing hella extra credit? We don't need this much extra credit,
right? Yeah,
we kind of can just.
I wonder if Amazon will, not Amazon, sorry, if Apple Plus or Apple in general, because eventually I think they dropped the MP3 player.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, do you want some music with that?
Right.
And then we had iTunes.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's this slow roll going on where it's like, now you can watch video on your watch.
Right.
You want some video with that?
Yeah.
And they're going to just keep rolling it out and rolling it out?
Yeah. It's that Vision Pro thing that they just announced.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know, like $4,500 or something crazy.
It's going to make everybody go blind.
Yeah, of course. Of course. We're going to, there's this theory that the aliens that or the Martians that we're used to seeing are time travelers, are Earth time travelers that are coming back from the future, and their eyes are these big black circles because that's what happens when you look at so many screens.
Wow.
And so close to your face.
Yeah.
So we're getting closer to that type of person.
Well, our eyes will get bigger so we can have screens closer to them. That's interesting.
Yeah.
They had a big hearing on aliens today.
Oh my God. I'm terrified.
I mean, it's over. It was in DC, right? So they're 3 hours ahead of us in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Apparently it went really well.
Yeah.
I had some friends that are like, oh, we're going to find out about aliens today. It's like, no, 3 people who've seen aliens are going to talk to Congress about it.
Yeah. And they're not going to say anything about it.
I mean, David Fravor was, I think it was David Fravor, the Tic Tac guy. I don't know. I shouldn't talk like Joe Rogan, but I saw like 1 or 2 tweets on the way in here that were like, oh, wow, we learned a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I got to get deeper into it after this, but be interesting to see. Yeah. I mean, I watched a documentary on the new, not the Hubble, but the one after that, space telescope.
Yeah.
They're, you look up and you think you're seeing stars. You're seeing galaxies, right? And every galaxy has thousands and thousands of stars. Yeah. There's got to be another planet out there.
It's got to be another planet.
Like, mathematically, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, math. So there's also this theory that that we are at the front of a dying universe.
Oh.
Where everything that we're seeing is behind us, and all of that stuff has been dead for several light years.
But we're just seeing the light catch up to us.
We're just seeing the light catch up to us.
That's not bad.
That one's also scary.
I saw 2 things. I saw like a video graphic of like the sun pulling this way and then all the planets like swirling behind.
Yeah, that's like, that's essentially what we are.
Right.
Where that's how we're moving, or that's how the universe is expanding.
Right. But we're still in a galaxy that's in whatever. Yeah. I don't know enough about it. But the thing that just occurred to me is that if you are a spiritual person and you believe in God and believe in the creation theory, believe in creation, like how overboard did he go to be like, sup?
Yeah. Look at all this stuff.
Shit's infinite, dude.
Yeah. That's
and look how tiny you are.
Yeah.
Like, I did it.
It's like nothing matters.
But yeah,
your life doesn't matter.
If you could just click your fingers and make anything as infinite as possible, like how big of a point do you want to prove if you're God?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I think that's like, it's overkill at this point.
Yeah.
The more and more you learn about it.
But why not?
Yeah.
Like you're
you're
in the
I'm just
void
gonna keep going.
Right.
That's, I grew up Christian, and so every time I would hear about evolution and all of the things out in space and whatnot, I would I would tend to be like, oh, him worrying about us or her worrying about us is insane. It's like we couldn't even come close to mattering to this cosmic being. Mm-hmm. And so for us to be like, oh, I'm gonna, pray, and then this is gonna happen because I'm praying to this person or thing or essence, is so selfish.
Right.
Yeah.
I also grew up Christian, and when I finally got to go to a public, it sounds so privileged. I went to a private Christian school until I got kicked out. Yeah. Taking biology in high school, it's like, oh, well, this is evolution, and this became this, and then I was like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
I asked where'd that come from in so many biology classes. I had to take biology 3 times.
Yeah.
They were just like, just get out.
It's just like you're asking too many questions.
That's a dumb question. I'm like, it's not a dumb question. Like you said, this came from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like it's almost easier to just believe like, boop.
Yeah.
Somebody made all this.
Yeah.
Than like it just all happened from one molecule and now it's an infinite, vastly expanding spatial.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm out of my science depth.
No, I mean, same here.
Yeah.
But it's honestly just everything that we've observed consistently reproduces and consistently gets bigger and more. So it's just like it totally makes sense for it to be like, oh, it was a molecule and it just kept splitting until
And it sure would be cool if there were other friends out there.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
It would be great.
It would be awesome because the way that we see life in general is like carbon based, right? And so if you find out that something is oxygen based, an oxygen based life form, or a plasma based life form, it's like, oh, our Earth only caters to this specific form of life, and there are so many other planets like ours that are close enough, but chose a different molecule or chose a different element to evolve.
I never, ever even thought about that.
Yeah.
I was always just going like, well, there has to be other like human-based carbon life forms.
Yeah. And probably
this is exactly why you're perfect for Star Trek.
Yeah. These are dumb things that we're like sitting there and like talking about, like thinking about.
And I've been watching Star Trek in all of its iterations for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I've never been like, oh no, they gotta have arms.
It's like, no, it could just
maybe
be,
they're smaller than us, maybe they're bigger than us, but they gotta look like us when they get here.
Yeah.
God's not gonna make like 2.
Right. It's like, no.
And then you look at all the animals and plants and you're like, oh, maybe
This just makes sense. Yeah.
So that means, oh God, that hurts my head. That
It
means
hurts.
There's like probably people from other dimensions or planets that have visited us, but we're looking for a solid fuel-based propulsion system to land on the planet and speak to us in our language.
The other scarier thing is there's a shrimp, the mantis shrimp on our planet that sees in like way more spectrums of light than the human eye can see.
Wow.
And
it's
so
the clear one, right?
It's clear. It has like little rainbow things, and it can also hit on a subatomic level. Its punches are so hard that it can create a vacuum of space underwater that when it collapses, it reaches the heat of the sun. It's like something crazy. A shrimp will fuck you up so hard that it creates a fucking black hole.
A little baby black hole.
Yeah, a little baby black hole that collapses so quickly that it superheats the air around it.
We don't need to explore space.
Yeah, we don't need to explore space.
We got the ocean.
Absolutely. But back to that thing's eyes, it sees on so many different spectrums of light that if humans had that and could switch spectrums of light, we might be able to see that there is an alien race here that we just have been not privy to,
like living amongst us,
and they're just like, oh fuck. I think that's what was it They Live was about, where they just like put on the glasses and you're seeing all this like subliminal messaging.
Man, I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
Yeah, it's bad, man.
Because that could be what other dimensions are. It's just the perception of different. Oh man, and to them, carbon-based molecules are just they don't see us.
They don't see us.
man, we should get one of them on the pod. You know?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
They might be here on the pod.
Yeah, they're just like, oh man, this is actually a good show.
Wow.
This is actually pretty sick. But
Man.
all of that dumb stuff is like what is consistently, I feel like, keeping me up at night, or like me trying to write jokes about that nobody's like. I think that's the rough part of, I mean, stand up and the way that different people's brains work. It's just like you're really trying to bring that to the masses.
Yeah.
In a way that is digestible and like makes sense, while also trying to understand it yourself.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's hard, and you can alienate people really quickly.
Totally.
But you know, the fun part is trying to bring it to the masses. Is trying to figure out a way to like make this about, I don't know, about race in America.
Yeah, that's, man. I mean, it feels like a natural time to talk about Below Decks. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll put that in your intro.
Yeah.
But were you always into science?
I was always into science, but not into Star Trek.
Okay.
So like the main story, the weird stories, like my and when I first got the like email to interview for this thing, it was probably like a week and a half out. My manager now, and then was like, hey, we submitted your sample to these people, and they're reaching out, and they're like, we actually want to meet with this kid to like maybe put him at a staff writer position. And so you get that in a week out, and I was like, okay, well, this is about Star Trek. This is about the lower decks of Star Trek. And so I have to think about all of this, all of these bits and whatnot that I could make in this world. So let me go and watch a shit ton of Star Trek so I can be like up
in
on
a
it.
week and a half?
In a week and a half. And so like,
did you start with movies or the OG season?
I started with the shows, with not the OG season. I think I started with Next Generation
Okay.
with TNG.
Yeah. There's 193 episodes.
Yeah. And so I just started watching 193 episodes a day.
Yeah.
I just started watching it. And I'm just trying to fit years of knowledge into a week of watching.
Right.
And
did you watch the feature film that had the TNG
I think I
cast?
watched the first one.
Yeah. Because
And
Below Decks is in the TNG era, right?
it is in the TNG era.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm watching it, and I think the night before, my buddy was like, hey, I'm opening up for Aziz. You got to come out and like just watch. And yeah, I mean, he was he's much further than I was in his career. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm watching this. I'm watching Star Trek because I got a big meeting with them. This will be my first TV writing job, and I'm really excited about it. But I think I need to figure out what I'm going to say, because this, Mike McMahon, who I was meeting with, is,
Did you say Michael Mann?
Mike McMahon.
Oh.
Yeah. Mike McMahon.
Okay.
It's like, oh, wow. Mike McMahon, he was running Rick and Morty at the time, and I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan.
Yeah.
And
well, that helps.
Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, I might get to see the Rick and Morty offices. This would be sick. It'll be a nice environment to
be
be
worth
in,
it just for that.
It would be worth it just for that.
Yeah.
And so back to my buddy, he was like, look, man, he'd already been staffed in a room. It's like, look, man, I think that the only thing they want is you. I don't think they want your knowledge of Star Trek. I don't think you should fake it and say that you are into this thing a lot. I think you should just be honest about yourself and just be like, all right, and just go with that. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't know, man. And he's like, well, it doesn't matter. Just come out and see. I'm sure you need a break. And so I went out. It was great. And then they're like, do you want to, go get drinks after? Because it is still like a nice thing that you're like meeting on a show for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like a mean for celebration. I was like, I should probably get back. And he was like, it's already 9. You're not going to even watch anything. Stop pretending like you're going to watch anything.
Right. Let's have a good time.
Just have a good time. So I went out, drank too much.
Oh no.
Woke up with a hangover. and went to the meeting. And
this is the night before the meeting?
This was the night before the meeting.
You went to the meeting hungover?
I went to the meeting hungover. And I don't even think Mike knows this. But I went to the meeting hungover. But I think because of that moment and because of what he told me and because I was like a little like out of it, something was just like, hey, just kind of be honest. And so I was like talking to him, and then he was like, hey, what do you know about Star Trek? And I was like, to be honest, my brother watched it a lot, but I mean, I've always been into science and whatnot, and I've been into Rick and Morty, of course, because it's like my favorite like blend of like the two things. But I watch it a lot. I have been watching for the past week, but I don't know much about it at all. I kind of just want to like tell jokes. And he was like, "Great, that's exactly what we're looking for."
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like none of the cast of that show know what the fuck they're doing. No, they're all recruits and cadets.
He was just like, he was like, I know enough about Star Trek to make up for everybody in the room's knowledge.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of needed somebody that was willing to watch the show. Yeah. It's like, as long as you're willing to watch the show at night, and be funny. That's it. That's all we really needed.
But your perspective can allow you to write jokes that a cadet or a new recruit, like someone who's like super memorized everything in Star Trek, isn't going to have that new wonder. Of like, what does this do?
Right.
Or that would make a Star Trek fan laugh because it goes, clearly we all know what that is.
Right.
But like, you need that fresh eye.
You need that. You need,
so smart.
It's you need that new recruit to come in and just be like, oh my god, I don't know what a tricorder is. What the fuck is a tricorder?
I mean, duh. Like, I would never think that.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows what a tricorder is.
Yeah. And then you have the other three characters dogging on them for not knowing what a tricorder is. And then eventually, I mean, I've watched all of TNG now. I've watched most of TOS as well. I think I had been before I left, like most of the way through Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
And so, you as your knowledge grows of the show, as do the characters, and as does the story that you can inform. So it's like, it is the perfect piece of advice that I got, which is like, just kind of be yourself and just like allow yourself to grow with the project rather than try to fake knowledge. And I think that that's like what a lot of people should go through.
Yeah. Are some of the other writers your experience level with Star Trek as well?
Some of them were.
Yeah.
There were, I believe there were like 2 or 3 other writers that knew Star Trek like the back of their hand.
Right.
But for the most part, it was the majority of us didn't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
And we're learning about it as we sat in the room and discussed.
Does it have like a story pass and then someone takes it and does the science pass? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so like sometimes I believe we would just do a story pass, and the stories were kind of based off of B stories. It's us riffing off of B stories from TNG.
Oh, like they never really finished what happened here, so it goes below deck.
Yeah. Or just like, oh my god, because the B stories of TNG were kind of comedies.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, look at this weird thing that Data is doing. Or look at this weird thing that Riker conjured up in I'm sorry. I'm like losing. I lost my train of thought.
It's all good.
I was gonna call it the Danger Room because I've been thinking about the X-Men a bunch. But the holodeck.
The holodeck.
Look at this weird thing that Riker thought up in the holodeck, and why is Moriarty loose on the ship?
Right.
Like shit like that.
Yeah.
That were the B stories, and then those are the things that we would riff off of in the room, and those are the things that we would kind of like build stories off of in the room. And then it's also Lower Decks is about second contact rather than first contact, and it's just like, what about what would happen if you came back to a planet where it was taken over by an evil machine, and they went back to worshiping the evil machine, and you're just like, oh my god, can you guys just stop? And then you get and mine comedy off of that.
Yeah.
So
It's so good. It's really great.
yeah, it's real fun. Man.
In the room, are you free to just spit out any idea and then have like the super Trek guys go like, that would never work, and then and then let's find a way to make it work, because that's what Star Trek is all about. Is like
figuring out how technology works.
We're in this little sticky spot, and then we need that magic lever at the end to be like, oh, we could just press this button the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, during that blue sky phase, you really are just like riffing off of things that you saw, and a lot of things just gotta kind of get thrown off the wall. There are like certain edicts that we have to hit, as far as where Mike wanted to have the characters wind up at the end, because you kind of just needed a beginning, middle, and end. And a lot of the times he would come in with those ideas at this beginning of the room, at the beginning of the season. And so you know that you have these landing points to hit.
Yeah.
And you know where you want to build to, and you kind of just throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, essentially.
Yeah. What's the series that came out before Strange New Worlds?
Discovery.
Discovery.
Yeah.
Did Below Decks come out before Discovery?
It didn't, but it is. I don't.
Because there's a mother-daughter parallel in Discovery as well.
Oh, I didn't know.
I think. Yeah. Maybe I'm losing my fucking mind.
Yeah.
I might be taking Below Decks storylines and putting live action faces on them.
Yeah,
Discovery.
maybe. Yeah.
My sister's gonna listen to this or watch it because she's a huge Trekkie. Her and her husband. And I thought I was, but now I'm just losing it.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, there's so much.
Yeah.
There's so much to it.
Yeah.
And they just recently did the crossover with Strange New Worlds. The Lower Decks characters, Mariner and Boimler, were in Strange New Worlds, and it was a nice little bookend of animation as well. So that was really cool.
The live action version of the animated characters, was it?
Yeah, the actors. Yeah, the actors
Seriously?
of Lower Decks were in Strange New Worlds.
I am caught up on Strange New Worlds, and it went right past me.
Yeah. They just, I
Wow.
believe they just did it. Like it was like 2 nights ago that they released it. It was during Comic-Con as like a little surprise drop.
Oh, so tonight's episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay. So I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way I would miss that, dude.
I think they released it a little bit early for the day, maybe. I'm not sure.
Is it the voice actors? Do they get to be the live action actors?
Yeah, it was a very, because they're both. Boimler is played by Jack Quaid.
Oh, right.
And so he's an actor.
Yeah.
And then Tawny Newsome is also an actress. So it was just serendipitous that both of them have live action experience, and so they kind of just gotta be themselves. And there was like a really fun joke where it's just like, why does everybody talk so slow here? Because on Lower Decks they literally take out the breaths that people have in their performances to speed up all of the jokes.
Yeah.
My
My new podcast AI will cut all the dead air out.
Yeah.
If this wanted to be a speed, like doop, 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 doop.
Yeah.
But that's, you only really use that for clips.
Great.
I could talk to you for hours about Star Trek stuff. But there's a couple off-camera questions I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to let you go. We've done an hour 10.
Okay.
I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I don't mind answering any more questions. Like, I'll stay here, dog. Like, I'm having a great time.
Have you met Patrick Stewart?
No.
Okay.
Fuck. So I was on a red carpet as a less important person, much less important person, and he was right next to me.
Okay.
But I did not meet him.
That counts.
I was terrified.
Counts.
To just look over and be like, "Hey, sir, huge fan.
Right.
I write for a Star Trek show," and then I just kind of faded to the background.
Just like Homer through the bushes.
Exactly. I really, really wanted to.
Yeah. Can you go to the con as a writer? You still get recognized from your acting work, though, right?
Yeah.
Do con fans put it together? Do they go like, oh? Do they recognize you as a writer, or do they recognize you as an actor first?
I'm in this mediary position where I don't know where people recognize me from most of the time. And people don't, whenever people recognize me from one thing, they don't know I do the other thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is the main issue that stand-ups run into.
Yeah.
Nobody knows me as a stand-up. Few people know me from the podcast that I host. Mm-hmm. And then few people know me from my acting work. And so it is just, trying to figure out during this transitionary period how to blend all of those together to where they're just like, oh, I know him. I know him in general.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like my idea of a pincer maneuver where it's just like I'm hitting it from all angles and hoping that I guess notoriety from all angles and hoping that all three of the things meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been invited to a con yet? Do you go on as a fan?
I've been to Comic-Con as a fan a couple times.
Yeah.
I have done TrekCon on a panel. I believe I would have been at Comic-Con for I mean, it would have been cool, but I wrote on Armor Wars, the television show that is now a movie that I'm not sure is that, or my name will be. I don't know what's going on with it.
Okay,
but it's a Marvel project. And
is it out?
It's not out.
Oh, okay.
It's not out, but I believe I would have been able to do Comic-Con for that if the strike wasn't going on and if they had started filming.
Oh yeah. How does I don't want to go too far down in the strike rabbit hole. Is that greatly affecting the number of people that are going to the con to promote?
Yeah, nobody went to promote.
Nobody went.
Yeah, a bunch of studios pulled out.
Can you imagine as a fan?
Yeah, tough.
Like people save up.
Yeah.
And they're like, I bought my flight, I bought my ticket,
right.
Comic-Con, because the ticket alone's $500, $600, $700, right? Yeah. And then go like, you just get there and it's like an empty mall. Yeah. Like, where is everybody?
Yeah. Oh. But it was nice because it turned into, from what I've heard, it turned into Comic-Con proper again.
Oh, like it should be.
Yeah, what it should be, where it's just like, it's literally just a floor of people shelling out comic books and figurines and talking about games and whatnot, and just the nerd fest that it used to be.
Yeah,
which I love. You know,
because it is a little too much when someone has like a $1 million booth.
Yeah.
With an experience, everything's an experience now.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my God, we have to see who's in Hall H and whatnot, and that's.
But the panels are fun. Like having your favorite actor show up, and like tell you stuff.
That's awesome.
With a Q&A is the coolest thing you can pay for.
See who gets announced. See what gets announced.
That's true too. Like watching the new trailers drop.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
If you reached a level of fame where you had to do cosplay, like the guy from Mythbusters.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Mythbusters?
Yeah.
Adam, I think his name was, would always just like dress up so that he could be free in Comic-Con to walk around however he wanted to.
Yeah.
Who, if you had gun to your head, you got to dress up. I don't know if cosplay is your thing or not.
Yeah.
But like, who you going as? If you had to just be in disguise as somebody.
Be in disguise as somebody else. Like, I would have said like Miles Morales.
Okay.
Because I just wear a mask the whole time. But now, I mean, it would be really cool to be a ghost from Call of Duty.
Okay.
So this is the character wears a mask the entire time, and he's just like a grizzled British war vet that doesn't talk much, but he's got this skull mask on the entire time that he's like fighting, and I probably would just walk around like that.
Do you play? Obviously, you got to play Call of Duty.
Got to play Call of Duty.
I play for an hour a day.
Yeah, got it.
Are you a battle royale guy, or are you like a multiplayer guy?
Battle royale probably.
Okay.
Yeah, because I will use multiplayer as like a warm up.
Yep.
And then jump into battle royale because that mode is so all encompassing,
right,
and so gravitational.
Yeah.
That literally everything else feels like a joke in comparison.
Right. I mean, are you Resurgence or are you like one and you like?
Oh no, I do the full thing. Resurgence feels like the whole reason why I'm playing is because it's you die at the
There's stakes.
Your stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you squads or solos?
Squads.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna admit something on the show that maybe I've talked about on the show, but everybody knows this about me. I'm a plunder guy.
Oh really?
I love plunder.
Wow.
And I almost never lose.
Yeah. Wow.
Because I will jump out of the plane and go to the farthest point
Yeah.
where no one's gonna be.
Yeah.
And I'll do most want-ins and I'll just get all the money.
Yeah.
And my crew could be, usually everybody jumps out of the plane, they want to fight.
Yeah.
You want to kill the guy with those money, you want to get all the money.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get lucky at the end and they get us an extra $500,000, but usually I got over $1 million by myself.
Yeah.
Love plunder.
Oh my God. That's wild. Because I look at plunder, I'm like, who's playing plunder?
This guy.
Yeah, it's explain plunder.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I'm on the reason I only play for an hour a day is because I'm on my exercise bike.
Oh, great.
I only play video games if I'm working out.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a really nice way to look at it.
Yeah, sometimes I work out twice a day because I really want to play video games.
I don't know if you've seen it, but they have like a weird exosuit type thing where you are on a omnidirectional pad and you're running on it.
Yeah.
And it is translating to movement on the game itself. And once that technology becomes a thing and people are just fit to play,
There won't be any fat gamers.
There
anymore.
won't be any fat gamers anymore.
Bro,
everybody's gonna be shredded
It's
up.
gonna be flipped. Like all ladies are gonna be like, "You're in shape. What do you play video games?"
She's like, yeah, I do.
And then
I
the
play a lot.
athletes are gonna be the ones that get fat.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh
dude.
my God, that's gonna be wild. But our eyes are gonna be huge because you have to be wearing those huge goggles.
Yeah, I was working with a guy. I actually worked at Riot Games last week.
Oh, what?
I don't know if I can say that.
Uh-oh.
I work there all the time.
Yeah.
I help them create content.
Yeah.
For the announcement. It's not even, Riot has League of Legends and they have Valorant. We were working on some stuff for Valorant. And as long as they don't tell you what it was, it's fine. And I don't think anybody that listens to the show would know. Because I tune out when we're working on it because I don't know. I don't- Anyway, the director of photography was like, you're not supposed to have the goggles that have the stuff on them.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have that stuff that close to your eyes.
Yeah.
And I never thought about that before.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what about glasses? But you like see through glasses, they help your vision. But like trying to like focus on something that's this far from your eye, we're gonna
gonna have
lose our
these
vision.
huge dilated eyes.
I think holding my phone here
Right.
for the last 10 years is the reason why I need readers right now.
Probably. I mean, it's in order to focus on something that is that close, there's no way that we don't come out of the other end deformed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we should, based on like our biological evolution,
Yeah.
like looking off into the distance for food or threats.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to be inside.
No, not at all.
We definitely weren't supposed to hold our hand in front of our face.
Yeah.
Or down.
Right.
Like I noticed that I have to like counter stretch my neck now.
Yeah.
Because I spend so much of it looking down at my phone.
Do you have the pinky dent on your
Probably. Because I don't have a pop saver. Pop stopper?
pop socket?
Yeah. I always hold it. I brace it with my pinky.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do I? I don't know. How do you tell if you have the pinky?
I don't know. I have a literal dent in the.
Wow. I can see it.
Yeah, from holding my phone and putting it in that crook.
Do you always use? Oh my God. I got one too.
Yeah.
We got pinky dents.
You got dents? You got fucking dents, man.
I have learned so much today, dude.
It's fucking TikToks, bro. It's wild. The other thing is that streamers are realizing that they have dents in their heads from wearing headphones.
Oh no.
One of them shaved and they went sideways.
Oh, you mean like across the top?
Yeah.
So many new things to worry about.
So many new things.
Multidimensional international beings.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said international, but
Yeah.
man, I have to stop now.
Yeah, this is great. This is great.
It's almost too much fun. It's like you got to end at the top, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if I keep going, I'm going to say something stupid or ask a dumb question, and you'll be like, "I'm getting out of here."
Yeah.
Man, can you plug everything you got? Can you tell us some tour dates? Can you tell us where to find you online?
Oh yeah. Well, I am on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. I don't post on TikTok, or Twitter. I just post on Instagram.
You just scroll. You just a scroller.
Yeah. At Garrick Bernard, GARRICK, and then Bernard BERNARD. And then I am in the East Coast, in DC on August 2nd, doing an hour there. New York Union Hall, August 3rd, doing an hour there, and then at Deep Cuts in Boston, in Medford, Massachusetts, August 4th.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, the August 2nd day is at the DC Comedy Lofts. So
Got it.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee this will come out by then.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm going to be in Las Vegas.
Oh, sick.
The August 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah. All right. Third, fourth.
I'm going for vacation.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to chill.
Yeah.
Go do
chill,
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Man,
This is great.
I'm blown away. Yeah, I was thinking about it in the shower this morning. In my 15, 16 years in the film business, I've never worked with a single cast member of Star Trek. If I have worked with a writer on any of the shows, I didn't know.
You would, yeah.
Unless they got a copywriting job at like a advertising agency.
Yeah.
So this is a real treat.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to meet Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man.
You met him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's end on this story.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me everything. How did you meet him? What's the deal?
At TrekCon.
Yeah.
It was honestly, that is one of the most, like, whenever people are just like, oh, this person is a gentle giant, that he encompasses that fully. Like, he is that. Like, that is,
he's huge.
He's huge.
Yeah.
And he's also the sweetest man you've ever met in your life.
Love it.
To where we went up to him, and for one, he was at the end of he's at the end of season one
yeah.
of Lower Decks. He's just like, he pops in and is just like, oh my god, I'm doing a favor for Mariner, and you're just like, Frakes?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Riker?
That blew my mind.
That was so fucking sick.
Yeah.
It's like the Titan, and I think that's what like solidified us as the upstart cartoon in the Star Trek universe. But so we are at TrekCon, and he's there as well, and we see him. He's humongous. He stands out in the crowd, and me and two other writers go up to him. We're like, hey, Frakes, man, we're huge fans. And he's like, oh yeah, where are you from? And he does this whole conversation. And then he's like, yeah, we just got here. We're riding on Lower Decks. And he's like, Lower Decks? Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that show to come out, because this is before it came out. He's like, oh my God, you're part of the family.
You didn't lead off with that?
We didn't lead off with that.
What are you doing?
I know. But he was like treating us like fan, like, but even us being fans to him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this is still a beautiful moment.
Right.
To connect with people, and he's like talking to us like human beings, not like talking down to us or anything like that.
He's got 40 years of experience.
Yeah, 40 years of experience. So of course he knows how not to like treat people like garbage, and you don't have to. And he, once he found out that we wrote for Lower Decks, like the most embracive person, he's like giving hugs all around, like all of that stuff. He's like, oh my God, I can't wait to be a voice. And he like did it in a hush. I can't wait to voice my character.
What
and
a
all
little
that stuff.
beautiful little inside moment. Like he
Yeah.
knew you knew.
Yeah. And he, went on and on
by
about
people
it.
that would love to know.
Would love to know. And it was so nice, and it felt so warm. And like, of course, he took a picture with us and all that stuff. Like, bring it up.
How is that not on your Instagram?
It is.
How did I miss that on your Instagram? There's no way I missed that.
Yeah. It's.
You gotta be kidding me.
I think it's hidden a little bit.
I went all the way to the end.
Yeah. It's there. It's like in a.
Is it on a slide?
It's on a slide.
Man, get the seriously?
Yeah. And
can I screen grab that and put it in the cut?
Of course.
That's not on the bridge, is it?
No. We got to go on the bridge though.
What?
Yeah, we got to go on the bridge.
Were you writing at Paramount when they were filming?
Yeah.
Which bridge is that?
I don't know. That's
the OG bridge.
That might be the OG one.
Were they filming a flashback scene?
I believe. This was around the time, when, either Discovery was making its rounds around, the TOS era, or
that could have been a Discovery bridge.
when they were starting. This is when they were starting Picard.
Right.
Yeah, and so I think they were doing flashbacks for him, and so that might have been the TNG deck.
Got it.
But yeah, that was awesome.
Because they fully brought the whole TNG actual real deck back out for the last season.
Yeah. Which is, everybody was like crying when they saw them all back on the same bridge.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, my childhood. Oh.
I loved every second of Picard. Not every second. The first season was kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But seasons 2 and 3.
2 and 3, yeah, it was like awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the shit.
How much of a Star Trek fan are you now?
Now I love Strange New Worlds, but now I'm a big fan of like episodic Star Trek, where it is beginning and end. We found this thing. We are dealing with this thing. We figured out how to deal with this thing.
Right. One and done it.
One and done. Because it's coming from someone who watched so much of TNG, all of TNG. There is just such a calming nature to it being like one and done.
Yeah.
And I've been searching for that in the Star Trek space, and now that Strange New Worlds is out, I'm like, okay, now we're back to it.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
There's still through lines a little bit.
There's through lines. There's light through lines in TNG. I mean, I feel like there's the whole part with the whole situation with him being with Picard being tortured and coming back, and and him being a Borg, him being Locutus, I think that's his name, and all of Q stuff where he just like kind of pops up every so often.
I thought Q was going to be a bigger role in Picard.
Yeah.
Did that actor die? That's the only reason he wouldn't be in it.
I don't know.
Maybe they just didn't have time.
Yeah, they might not have.
I had to look up how old Jonathan and I'm going to call him Picard. Patrick are.
Yeah.
Patrick's 82.
Yeah, he's pretty old.
Which means Jonathan's 71 or 72.
Yeah. He's a spry old man though. Real spry.
So then I went back and looked up how old they were when they started TNG in 87.
Yeah.
Is it 87? 89? 87? I get the dates for the start of TNG and the start of Baywatch mixed up. Which is really weird to be like a fan of.
Yeah. Both.
Yeah.
Top ends of the spectrum.
But back then you had a show per night that you liked. You had 7 shows that you really liked.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, well, it's Monday Night Football, and then it's Tuesday, bowling or whatever. Right. But then like the good shit was like back to back Thursday.
Yeah.
Nobody put a good show on. Oh no, then it was TGIF.
Oh,
in the 90s. That's how old I am.
Yeah.
I don't know how old you are.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It was like Family Matters, Full House, like all like.
It's just after work.
And then the weekend would hit, and there wouldn't be anything good on TV. There'd be like the Saturday night movie of the week,
yeah.
but
yeah, because everybody's out.
Yeah, we're out at the bowling alley.
Yeah,
doing stuff.
Yeah.
Man, Star Wars at all?
Star Wars.
It's totally fair to be like, no, I don't have the space for it.
No, I do love Star Wars. In the respect space where I'm like, oh, you really started a lot of this stuff. Even though Star Trek, actually started it. Right. Star Wars fully dove into itself and being sci-fi and unapologetically sci-fi. Rather than like on the Star Trek side, it was just like, oh, this is a play about space. And that's great. But on the Star Wars side, it's just like, no, in a galaxy far, far away, there is so much happening. Yeah. And we don't care if you can follow it or not. Right. We are going to tell this space western. And that's the type of shit that I have to respect. And it's dope. But I don't know if like the recent ones have been catching my eye. I did like Andor a lot. Okay. Andor was really fucking good. Yeah. Andor is really good. I think that The Mandalorian is really like great, simple storytelling. It's very like sprint A to B storytelling, and I love that. But yeah, as far as like the movies go, the originals are just always going to win out, and you're always going to try to chase the high of the original.
Well, if you're an Andor fan, then you're probably a Rogue One fan at least.
Yeah, I like that Rogue One, everybody dies in the end. But I don't know if I like the movie.
Spoiler alert.
I'm so sorry. Spoiler alert.
It's only 6 years old.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it by now, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. But I like that Andor was about pretty much space immigration and how the police deals with immigrants. And rebellion, and the start of the rebellion. I thought that was just sick.
Do you have a Star Trek series that you don't like?
Star Trek series?
Yeah. For me, I watched Voyager as a kid, but I could deal without Janeway. And then the new one, it's not new. It's the Bridging the Gap. It was like the guy from the time travel show was the captain of some other spaceship in a Star Trek series.
What Pike or
No. It might be Pike. I would have to look it up. They're all gonna scream at me for this one. It was some mid-level, not mid, like it was newish. It's like 5 years old.
Yeah.
5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
Didn't really care for that one.
Okay. So I think there was Enterprise. Enterprise. Oh, okay.
Wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, it was the first. That was the beginning of the Enterprise, or like the first ship. Yeah, a lot of people didn't care for it.
And that one didn't hit.
It didn't hit.
No.
Didn't hit as hard.
Yeah. I feel like if I end this podcast, my opportunity to keep asking Star Trek questions will forever be closed.
Oh my god, no, I'll be here.
Like there's stakes to it. Finally.
Yeah.
Oh man. Let's leave them wanting more.
All right, man. Great.
Garrick Bernard. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
I have a bad thing with names. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I feel like I'm part of the Star Trek family now.
Yeah, you are.
I hope my sister's proud of me.
Yeah.
But thank you again.
Thanks
for coming.
having me. Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thanks so much.
Oh, God damn it. That was my favorite episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I've done 110 of these.